This podcast was recorded on Gadigal land. We acknowledge the First Peoples of Australia and pay respect to elders past and present. We honour their ongoing connection to land, waters, culture and community, and extend that respect to any First Nations peoples listening today. This episode contains discussions about suicide and mental illness. Discretion is advised.
Hey, I'm Liv Fyland and this is the Assuria podcast channel. In this series, What I Wish I Knew, we are diving into the art of being your own boss without becoming your worst employee. Now, if work-life balance looks like checking your emails at 11 p.m. while binge watching your favourite show, there might be a few tips for you. Let's jump into it. I am joined by two fabulous business owners, Mark Ryan and Emily Bitco. Thank you so much for joining me, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Now, Emily, you are also an Assuria business mentor, but
Correct.
Can we start with you? Tell us a little bit about your business, though.
Sure. So I have Vibra, it's a magnetic belt-free pouch, which is designed to carry your phone, cards, keys and cash when you're on the go. So predominantly we are an online e-commerce business, also stocked in major retailers across Australia and internationally. So it's been quite the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when did you start?
About 15 years ago, really, in total, my whole journey has been. So, yeah.
And there's a
long
real
time.
evolution, so we will come back to that for sure. But while you have a product-based business, Mark, yours is slightly different, or should I call you the beautiful bogan? Tell us about Fairy Floss and Chaos.
It's an entertainment business, mainly comedy, but also lived experience and wrapping comedy up with lived experience with mental health. And, yeah, we go to communities and talk about things that people don't really want to talk about.
Yeah. How did you get into that?
Well, I suffer with, or I don't suffer, I live alongside mental illness. So, you know, I thought maybe I can wrap the two up together, and essentially it shouldn't work, but it does. So.
Yeah, it is an interesting parcel, and I think it does work so well. But I want to know, guys, success, it isn't linear and it isn't overnight. So I want to know about your timelines. Talk me through from the moment of the idea to execution to when you actually feel like you're getting a bit of traction and success. Kind of those 3 points. Emily, do you want to kick us off?
So I suppose there's definitely been different points of the journey to lead us to today, but I feel that, you know, initially it was about getting a sample of a product that, you know, was functional and looked good, and then taking that product into market. And taking it from just a sample to the market for us looked like going to the markets every weekend and really exploring who our customer was, getting feedback on the product, developing it. And then from there, taking it, I suppose, from probably, you know, I'd say in inverted commas, a backyard hobby to, you know, becoming a real business that we moved full time in was COVID for us.
So how long from when you had the idea and then maybe taking it to the markets? Like, what's that first stage looking like? Are we talking a month? Are we talking a year?
Yeah, 3.5 years.
Perfect. See, this is what I mean.
Yeah, so some real groundwork there and a lot of hustle. And, you know, even in that time, from the feedback at the markets, development in the product as well.
Yeah.
You know, what the Vibra was, you know, 9 years ago is not what it is today. You know, it's such a different product, look-wise, all of that.
Yeah.
So...
And then that next stage of becoming what you feel is taking it from a hobby or a side project or a passion project into playing in the bigger leagues. What did that look like and how long was that next phase?
Yeah, so I suppose 3.5 years in, at that point, we had about 100 stockists across Australia. Little gift stores that, you know, loved having our product because it is a great gift. As well as we did have our online store, but it wasn't sort of flying off at that point. And we decided at that point when COVID hit, I mean, we kind of felt like we had to shut down. We were, you know, our bread and butter was the markets, and then we also had our boutique gift stores, and they were all shutting down. And we're like, what are we going to do here? And we just engaged a digital marketing agency who said, you know what, you should really focus online about how you can use the Vibra to carry your hand sanitizer, your mask and all your essentials when you're out walking. And we thought, oh, well, you know, what have we got to lose? We'll give it a go. And it just astronomically blew out of the sky like we could never have imagined. And at that point, you know, we sold out of all the stock we had And, you know, we just thought, oh my God, we're going to have to put in our biggest order ever with China. And I suppose after a good 3 months of really good sales at that point, Sarah and I thought, well, you know, we've got all this stock coming, we've got to find a warehouse and we're going to move full time into the business because we can afford, you know, it all happened very quickly. And so, yeah, we'd had those consistent sales that gave us the ability to cover our costs as well as cover a wage for both of us. And that's when we felt like it was time for us to move into the business full time.
And would you say that felt like success for you?
Or
Absolutely. All my dreams, wishes and everything I'd ever put on my vision board came to life. It just was, you know, the most beautiful time really when I look back on it.
Mark, what about you? How long have you been Fairy Floss and Chaos for?
I was doing stand-up for 9 years, and then I got into the mental health stuff because I had nervous breakdown or whatever, and then I thought maybe I can combine the two. I said before I can combine the two, so probably 2019 I did a series of shows called The Beautiful Bogan versus the Black Dog, and I self-produced a tour that was 34 gigs in 30 days and re-traumatised myself the whole time. And then went back to my therapist and he's like, what have you done? And then, but then that kind of, I was the only one doing anything like that at the time, and they got a little bit of attention. And then we had a really bad drought in 2020. Well, we had a lot of stuff happen in 2020, but I was meant to go on tour around Eyre Peninsula, which is Port Lincoln area, and they got cancelled on the 24th of March because the world shut down. And then in September we did that tour when it was safe to do so. Yeah, and that kind of gained some traction then about, oh, hang on, like, because, you know, the feedback's immediate when you do stand-up, because two people tell you if you're horrible or not.
Yeah.
So then they got some traction, and then some other, I guess, suicide prevention networks saw it and were like, this might work. And then slowly but surely, you know, more people started booking me, then more corporates were like, oh, can you come talk here? And so then here we are today.
So, bit different when you have a service business versus a product, right?
Yeah.
So when was the moment that you thought, okay, I want to go into stand-up, or I want to combine these two modalities? Wasn't it with your therapist?
Yeah, 15 years ago with my therapist, I was on the edge of life and death, to put it eloquently. And I love living. I live in duality, right? So I love living. Like, life is incredible. I love coffee, but also got this dark shadow that's like, we could also not. And that would be all right too. So I balance the two, and, you know, that balance got overtaken.
Yeah.
And so I went to my therapist, and, you know, he asked the question, when was the last time you felt good in your soul? And I made people laugh at my friend's wedding because I did a best man speech. And then he said, do you want to be a stand-up comedian? And I was like, I'd never even thought about it, but it must have lit me up some way. And he was like, oh, well, don't do that, because that's the most vulnerable art form in the world. Like, you've got nowhere to hide. But I think there's a mystery in, like, having a spicy brain like I have, and also living on the edge of, like, you know, these people might not laugh. Like, you know, I talk to farmers who you know, in the moment in a massive drought, that are on the verge of life and death like I am, and they've put their whole life into this crop and they haven't had rain. But, you know, the thing with mental illness is it doesn't discriminate, and just because you live in the country doesn't mean I don't know what it is to feel loneliness as well, or to feel despair. Like, those are human things, they're not location things. So that's the beauty of it all.
Yeah. From walking out of that therapy session to putting your name down and doing some stand-up and starting this business, what timeline are we looking at?
It was the next week. So that was the next time. I just went...
You're quick to execute.
Yeah, it was a matter of urgency. So I found an open mic. Like, I jumped up there and it was horrible. Probably the first time was... Everyone's first time is horrible. Like, no one's a superstar their first time getting on stage, because everyone thinks, oh, I could do that. And they go, and there's people and you're like, oh, no. I'm going to make them laugh. And then I just kept going back and back, and eventually someone was like, oh, you're pretty handy. I was like, oh, I don't know. Like,
have you had any moments along the way that you're like, it feels like I'm getting some flow, and that felt successful?
Yeah, I think, you know, people talk about a flow state, but I think more so like if I interact with someone after a show, like my whole success is like people being seen. Like I see you, which is the most powerful thing you can say to someone. Is I see, like you might put it on this big, scary, front, but I see past that, or like, and being able to have conversations with people. Like I remember having a conversation with a farmer once in Penong, which is like 90 k's past Adjuna, and we were sitting outside after I did an event, and he's smoking. I don't smoke, but he's smoking, and he kind of pointed to the back of the room. He goes, "You know that stuff?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, yeah. You want to talk about it?" "Not really." "Oh, okay." And then I left it about 10 minutes, and he goes, and then he kind of opened up. He goes, "For 70 years, I've never been able to talk about mental health, but I've struggled all that time. And it's the first time I've ever heard someone." And to me, that's success. To me, that's, you know what? I did my job. Do you know what I mean? And it was lovely. And then I said, look, just make sure you reach out to your friends. You know what I mean? Because they all heard it now. Like, not his story particularly, but you've all heard that you can reach out. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Wow, that is so powerful. And I think a really good demonstration of in every business and for every individual, success looks so different. And I think going into it knowing what success means to you. And I speak about this all the time, that we constantly move those goalposts. It's because we're always wanting more, and we often forget where we're at the moment could be something that we once dreamed of. So I don't know, Emily, do you ever feel like that the goalposts constantly move for what success is?
Definitely. It's a really valid point that you make, in that, it is very important to take a step back and look at how far that you have come, because it's really easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of the business, and because you're constantly, as entrepreneurs, if you've got a goal and a vision, you are sometimes so focused on it, and all you're doing is just chasing, and it's so important to actually enjoy the journey, and be appreciative of all the learnings and all the setbacks, and for your own self, I think, to look back and say, wow, this is where I started and this is where I am now. And I have had so many of those moments. I can't believe sometimes how far we've come and what we've achieved, and like even getting NDIS approved recently, and getting into Chemist Warehouse and things like that. It's, I only dreamt of that one day. I remember sitting at my sister's back office, where that's where I used to work from, and sending email after email after email to all these boutique gift stores or, big retailers who I just got no response at all. And to go now and be able to write an email and get a response because you've built that brand recognition and trust is amazing.
I think that's what's so nice, is because it is important to stop and celebrate and have that little moment and acknowledge, except it's also so fine to constantly be setting new goals and moving forward, and that's what it's all about. But doing both of those can sometimes be quite tricky.
Yes.
So reminding yourself to stop and be like, oh my God, I once dreamt of this, is really beautiful.
Yep.
Now, I think a lot of people are jumping into starting their own business, which is absolutely brilliant, but perhaps don't know the reality of what it might take. So I wanted to know, Emily, is there anything that you really wish you knew about how long something might take, or how much it might take to get there before you started?
Yeah, definitely. I often talk about this in my mentoring sessions, especially when clients are first starting out. I say to them that, it's like a child in a way. You've got to grow it, you've got to nurture it, you've got to love it, you've got to put all of your time and effort into it, before it starts walking and getting its own legs. And, I think a lot of people go into business thinking that, I'm going to be making money in my first year. And that is true for some people, but a small rarity.
Yeah, the unicorn businesses that explode overnight or go viral, and people are like, this is easy. And everyone else is like 9 years in waiting for their overnight success.
Exactly. And I think there's such an illusion around that overnight success. It's usually years and years and years worth of, I sometimes think that people think that about Vivra.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's, all those years at the markets every Saturday. But it definitely takes a good year, to really just set the foundations of your business. You're learning about your customer, you're learning about yourself, you're learning about how to improve your product, and that takes time. And, you know, for people to trust in you too. Like, trust isn't built overnight. You think about friendships or things like that doesn't come overnight. It comes with time. And so you have to be gentle with yourself, that getting it off the ground is going to take time. And I think that's really important, knowing what your purpose and your why is.
Yeah, building that brand and that trust is so important. I mean, I just want to share my little experience of I am bringing out an app into the world, and I started working on it in 2020.
Yeah.
And so 5 years later, I'm finally launching it. Yeah. But it is wild how much that's blown out. And I think we can be like, oh, I have this idea and I'm excited by it. And oh my God, do I have the grit and do I have the fire in my belly to last that long? Now, my question to both of you, knowing what you do now, would you sign up for it?
Yeah, 100%.
You'd do it again?
I would absolutely do it again, hands down. I've learnt so much about myself. I've done things I never imagined I would ever do. And I feel a sense of proudness in now being able to help others to believe what's possible for them. Like, I think, I love that.
Yeah. What about you, Mark?
I wouldn't change a thing. I'd still sign up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard. Like, it's, you know, you get rejected, but reject's not personal. Like, they didn't reject you because, you know, who knows why they did. There's 1,000 reasons why you didn't get the gig or you didn't get this. But I think also, like, I have to remind myself that comparison is the thief of joy, because, you know, we can look at other people, I look at other comics. Well, yeah, but they're not me. You know what I mean? I've got my own niche that I've made, and I've got my own brand that I'm working on, and that's all right. Like, you know. But I wouldn't change it for the world.
Are there any things that you kind of wish you knew before starting, or do you think that almost sort of held you back?
Oh, I think it would have held me back because it's scary.
Yeah.
Right? But I think being present, and again, like, just taking situations where, you know, I get booked to go to the country and, you know, 1,000 kilometres away from my house, and you see the stars and you're like, wow, they look so much different out here. And just having moments of presence is the most important thing, and just acknowledging, like, oh, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And not many other people get to do this.
There is a certain positive about that naivety. Would you agree? Now, this is funny asking a business mentor, because obviously, like, knowledge is power and confidence and all of that. Like, the more you know, it's obviously very beneficial. But there is a certain brilliance of naivety, of not knowing what you're stepping into, that kind of helps you get over the start line.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's just living on the edge, right? Because, I worked in a warehouse for 15 years before that, and I knew what I was doing every day. I knew. But now, I don't know what's going to happen every day.
There's no complacency
right?
in small businesses.
I get some of the weirdest phone calls, and, you know, it's just random, like, and that's the beauty of it all.
I think about, if I can add, I think about when I used to, you know, go into gift stores with my initial packaging and all that kind of thing, and it was not nearly as beautiful and gorgeous as the packaging and stuff we have now. And I look back and I go, did I honestly think that it was okay to go into stores with this type of product? Like, what was I even thinking? But it's that naivety of, you know, I've got a mission and vision. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm so committed to it, and I'm going to make this happen.
And what's the quote? It's like, you only know what you know now.
Yeah.
Or something.
You know, and when you know better, you do better. Yeah, stuff like that.
And I think sort of it's so important that you should look back and go, cringe.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you waited too long to start.
Yes,
right?
good
Like,
point.
It's you're meant to look back and go, oh my God, that was cringe. Look how much I've grown. Or look at what my packaging and design started at. And it's like, if you don't see that difference, you're maybe not growing and evolving the way you should be.
Well, a lot of people ask me, oh, have you got any material on YouTube? I'm like, don't watch it. Don't even. I don't control, like, other people will put it up. I'm like, I can't control it, so don't watch that.
Yeah.
Like, it's horrible. Like, that's not a good example.
Embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not a good example of what I do now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because, again, stuff's always changing, and if you're not developing or moving forward, then you're stagnant, and that's not good either.
Did either of you have moments where you thought of giving up or throwing the towel in?
Oh my God, so many times. Even after my first 500 units that I ordered, because they just were just absolute rubbish. I mean, the functionality was still there, but I went into crisis mode because I was like, oh my God, I've invested all the capital I had into this production run, and there's no way I'm going to be able to go and sell them at, $80 a pop.
Yeah.
No one's going to buy that. But, lucky enough I had family and whatnot around me to just go, you know what, Emily, functionality's there. You need to hit the pavement and figure out what your customers want. You've got a product here. Go to market with it and see what happens. And it was the best decision I ever made, because if I had stopped, I think about everything I would have missed out on.
Yeah. So do you feel like what really helped you navigate that period was the support team that you had?
Yeah, massively. I think it is really important to have good people around you who, I always say, you should always take advice from people who are where you want to be in life. And I think, if you can get some really wonderful cheerleaders around you who believe in you when you lose belief in yourself, they will get you through the tough times.
Do you feel like you now get to do that role as a Assuria business mentor?
Yeah, and I love it. I really love it, because some of these clients that we work with, they don't have that. And it's wonderful that there is a community of mentors out there like us who can help support you through that.
Yeah. Now, Mark, you've been on the other side of being mentored, but I want to know, have you had moments of wanting to give up?
Every time I get to a gig, when I fly, I stand at the back of the room and I'm like, who do you think you are? Like, who do you really think you are?
A lot of imposter syndrome.
Oh, flying over here this morning, I had imposter syndrome. Like, all the time, who do you think you are? But then there must be something there, because people keep booking me. Do you know what I mean? And people keep laughing and people keep, being seen. So there must be something there. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, honestly, every time I'll be sitting at the back of the room going, what are you doing with your life? Like, come on, man. Like, but what's the alternative?
What keeps you going?
To think that maybe I can save one person's life from suicide. And it's not my job to save someone, but maybe to make one person feel less alone in the world, and that's enough.
Doesn't get more powerful than that.
But it's just like, because I know what it is to feel alone and to sit in that. And so, if you can make someone go, hey, like, we can sit in it together. I can't fix anything. I'm not here to fix it, but we can sit in it and then build community, and hopefully from there, I think when we talk about mental illness, it's complex, but I think really the simple, like, everything lives in duality, right? So it's complex, but also the simple fact is it's connection. If you feel connected to someone, you're less likely to probably to do to hurt yourself. But yeah, that's my whole drive.
And I think that it sounds like it's something that saved you, and so it's so deeply personal. And I think when businesses take so much longer and they're so much harder to start up than we expect, you have to have that thing that feels so deeply personal that even when it's hard and even when you're not earning a cent and you don't know when your next paycheck's coming in, you go, I have to do this because I know the impact it had on me and I can give that gift to somebody else. Or you just have to have that fire in your belly that it's like you really believe in your product or your service or what you're putting out into the world. And I suppose it's coming back to what you said, Emily, about knowing your purpose and your why, having that North Star or your anchor, whatever you want to look at it as, to be like, I keep driving back to it. When people start a business, and correct me if I'm wrong, but over being like, I just want to be an overnight success, or I don't want to do my 9 to 5 anymore, or I want to be a viral sensation, or whatever it is, it's like it's going to burn so quickly. Yeah. And it's going to burn out. Yeah. Would you both agree?
100%. I think your intention is just so important. And I feel that every single time that I've wanted to give up, going back to my purpose and why of, Vivra is about bringing joy to its user and freedom. Really that's what it's about. And so, for the mum on the go or the active person or, the person with a disability who relies on that to have a fashionable product to carry their goods in and, it makes life, gives them independence.
Yeah.
Going back to that purpose.
And your brand's mission. Like that sounds like your mission statement, and I think it can come across in branding when you're like, they don't know their mission. They don't know their purpose here. It's chaotic. They don't know their customer. Yep. You don't know who it's being targeted from. you don't know who it's been targeted at, but what you just said, it was like you knew the mission and you knew the customer, and you can keep coming back to that to realign your brand. Did you have anything there?
I guess the same. Like, you just know why you're doing what you're doing. Because it's hard. Like, I can go ages without any work. You know what I mean? You're like, this is, my savings are running out. But then you get 2 or 3 gigs, and then you get asked to quote stuff, and stuff comes through, and you're like, the universe was sorting it out anyway. It's all right. I think it's just, trust in your product. Like, despite my brain being silly, I'm good at what I do. Do you know what I mean? Like, as much doubt there is there, like, people wouldn't keep booking me if I was horrible at it.
Yeah.
So, and
And the most people who we would deem as wildly successful, right, or where we would maybe dream to be one time, the amount of imposter syndrome that they suffer from, it's like no one's ever void of it. It's not like you reach a certain level and you don't have those silly brain moments like you're describing, Mark. But I think that's really important for anyone listening to remember. It's like, you shouldn't be waiting for imposter syndrome to not exist to feel like, oh, I'm in control, or I should start this business, or I am successful. They don't correlate. Some of the most exceptional, successful, driven, intelligent people I know are crippled with imposter syndrome. And so knowing that they can kind of coexist, I think is really comforting.
And I think, like, again, I remember doing a fringe show in a place called Cummins on Eyre Peninsula, right? They'd never had a fringe show before. Like, we did a fringe, it was a hot day. We did a fringe show in the RSL, and it was wild. We had a dog running around. We had children coming in asking their parents, because it's a small country town, when's dinner ready? And they're just watching the show, and it was chaos, and it was beautiful. It was everything I love. And then we went back to the pub afterwards, and I saw a friend of mine had sold out a 600-seat tent at Fringe, and I was like, I'm eating cheese toasties at 12:30 at night in the country town. I want this. Because I know every single person here now, and I can go back into that country town now, and they know who I am, and they're like, hey, Mark. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, I don't like fame and all that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm in this for. Like, it's, if it's a byproduct, then it's a byproduct. But if it's a byproduct for me, then I'm not interested. But if it's a byproduct to be able to help break a stigma around mental health, then that's cool with me. But for my own purposes,
you're very in tune with what your definition of success is. Now, I want to finish with a question for you, Emily. Any advice around setting realistic milestones or long-term planning in business? Just, anything to kind of support people for coming into business and having those realistic expectations.
Yeah, I think that definitely need to go into it realising that, potentially it's not going to happen overnight for you, and that, things are going to take much longer than you anticipate they will. They're probably going to cost 5 times more than you think they will also. But I think it's also really important to remember that no doesn't mean no forever, and that you've got to start somewhere. And, like we were saying before about comparison, you've got to try and just stay in your own lane and go, this is where I am and this is the path that I'm on. Have a plan, have some time frames around when you want to get things done by. And if you're not reaching those goals or it's not happening, it's maybe trying to steer you in a different direction, and you have to be a little bit conscious of those things. So being aware that, okay, if it's not working, what can I do differently, and keeping abreast with changing things as well, because you can't become too comfortable either. Do not become comfortable in business. It's the worst thing you can do.
Oh, that's so disappointing. I was just waiting for the day that I finally
sorry.
Damn it.
And you shouldn't want to become comfortable either.
Know.
Because, I know that, it's nice to be able to just sit back and go, okay, cool, things are working, everyone's getting paid and don't have to worry about where your next dollar is coming from. Those things are wonderful, but becoming complacent, really, you'll be taken over by a competitor faster than you know. Do you know what I mean? So if you want to keep succeeding and moving forward, you've got to keep going, keep innovating. But I think that definitely it's good to have a business plan, to get things off the ground and to know where you are financially. I think that it's really important to be on top of your numbers, you know, especially in those first couple of years in business, because then, you know, you can make better decisions. The quicker you make decisions in business, the quicker you'll move in a better direction. So I think those things are really important to keep in mind when you're starting out.
Yeah, perfect. Anything from the other side, Mark? Being mentored and...
I just listen to your mentor. Like, I've got a great mentor, and she really helps me. And she helped me. You know, I struggle with, you know, we talk about I struggle with imposter syndrome. So, like, you know, setting a rate for a gig was hard for me. And then my mentor was like, well, yeah, but hang on a sec. Like, it's not just 45 minutes or it's just like an hour. It's 15 years of experience. Yeah. It's like, in some cases, it's 8 years of therapy to be able to talk about stuff I talk about so openly. I was like, you got to factor that in. And then, again, when people go, oh, no, it's too expensive. Okay, cool.
Yeah, knowing your worth.
Okay, come back next year.
Yeah.
And they normally do. Normally they, you know, because they'll go get someone else and they go, oh.
They'll miss in the beautiful bogan.
Right.
They'll like, oh, we stuffed up that choice.
Now it's more expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's a year later. There's, you know, but, yeah, just being settled with, you know, again, like moving forward, but also being present is something big for me.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you both for all your wisdom and for sharing the views on business and success isn't overnight, but it takes grit and purpose and passion. So thank you so much for chatting.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Now, if you guys want to find out more about Assuria and the Workforce Australia Self-Employment Assistance Program, check the show notes or head to assuria, asuria.com.au/podcast.
The advice shared in this podcast is general in nature and doesn't take into account your individual business needs. It's not intended as professional or legal advice. Be sure to seek guidance from qualified experts before making big business decisions.